Here we are, you guys. It is May 1st, and this week we found out that we have another month of shelter in place, which means, again, more focus on these at-home workouts with your spare time, right? So I'm happy to be of service for you. And just another reminder, as I always do, remember if you'd like to give me any feedback for the videos or what you're experiencing with the videos, please let me know because I'm trying to tailor this and customize it for my viewers and the people that are participating. So let me know, and as always, I'm hoping things are going well for you and your body and your health in general. So today we're going to get into the IT band, okay? The IT band is not an area we've focused on yet, but it tends to be a really tight, junky, painful area when we do give it focus. And the reason why it's important to focus on is because the IT band essentially runs from the hip flexor up here down the outside of the thigh and then runs through the knee. So it's a really long fascial strap that goes all the way down and actually goes into the lateral part of the lower leg. So sometimes you can have pain down here or pain in the hip, and has everything to do with how the IT band is tight in some way or another. It's also important to know that the hip flexor is what controls the IT band. So the relationship goes both ways. You have a tight IT band because the hip flexor is tight, or vice versa. IT band is getting stressed out, so the hip flexor is tight. So that's why we do both. Sometimes we do them together, sometimes we do them apart. Today we're just working on the IT band, okay? So the tools that we will need can vary. Okay, I have a variety of different ones that I can show you with. We could do this with a double ball, small, double ball big. We could do it with a small kind of roller, which I don't assume many of you have this. But you could also do it with a large foam roller as well. So we'll play with the tools that we have, and we could also get into it with a small ball. It's just a little bit more difficult. Big ball's probably one of the only things that won't work that well. Okay, so first I'm going to show you with a roller because that's what most people have. And then I'll show you with the second side what a different tool will look like, okay? So now the nice thing about the IT band, when we start, we're going to start about 2 inches above the knee. So see this big tendon right here that runs on the outside of my knee? And you can see as I'm flexing here, get a zoom in shot of that camera person, that the vastus lateralis comes down into this kind of circular position down in the top of the knee, okay? And then this stringy type tendon right here that you can see maybe, there you go, as I flex that way you can see it. This is actually the IT band as it runs through the knee. So this tendon is controlled by the IT band as it goes up my thigh. So we're going to start right about here where this tendon comes into the vastus lateralis, and then we're going to work our way up about halfway. Now we can spend a lot of time on the IT band because it runs all the way up your thigh, but we're going to spend about 6 minutes or so in 2 different spots. So about right where this insertion, or not insertion, but the part of the last vastus lateralis where that begins, and then 3 inches, 4 inches higher in more of the meat of it. Okay? So now with the roller, you can go right in that spot, as I mentioned, just above the knee, on the side of your body. So I'm in like a side plank type position here. So I'm on an elbow. I have the desired leg on top of the roller in that spot. And then my other leg is out forward for support. So I can bring that wherever I want, foot flat on the ground, higher, lower. Okay, some sort of position that you're nice and stable. And now that we're here, okay, we're going to do a few different things. For 2 minutes or so in this spot, I'm going to pull my heel towards my glute, which is going to lengthen the IT band, and flex my hamstring. And I assure you, this is not comfortable whatsoever. This is quite painful, even with this roller here. Seems I need this treatment. And then I can also extend my leg. Now I'm going to flex. So this is my contract. I'm really tightening my thigh right now, completely straightening it, and then I'll relax. So I'm completely disengaged now. And that's really tough to do. It's really hard to let go because it is quite painful. And then I'm going to do that again a few times over the course of the next 2 minutes. A limiting factor in this position, though, and why a smaller tool can sometimes be better, is because the shoulder, the arm will get tired, or the core, as you hold yourself up here. So you're getting quite warm as you do this, holding yourself up. So sometimes what works in this lower position is actually just allowing your body to relax on the ground like I have here. Oh, and this gets in just as well. So I'm just going to hang out here because my arm was getting tired. And I'm going to contract now, flexing super hard, bending, flexing the hamstring, straightening again, relax for a second. I'm going to do one more. And remember, y'all, if you want to spend more time in these areas than I am for the video, please do so. Just remember that the max per location is 4 minutes. You don't want to do more than 4 minutes per location. Okay, so I'm done with the lower spot there. I'm going to move my way up. Now this is going to go more in the middle part of the thigh, so X marks the spot for this one. Not planned that way, but that's how it is. So I'm going to go in the middle of the thigh. The technique and the movement and everything that we're going to do is basically the same. So I'm going to pull the heel towards the butt, lengthening the lengthening the IT band, flexing the hamstring, and then straighten, contract, relax, totally let go. Oh, sometimes it'll roll a little bit and you'll feel that tenderness as it rolls over. And as always, we're trying to breathe and relax in this position. As painful as it might be, or as warm as you're getting by holding yourself up, try to relax. Now in this higher location, it's kind of hard to hold the position with your body on the ground because the roller is higher on your thigh. So it changes kind of the orientation. I mean, I can do it. It's just that the leverage higher up on the thigh isn't quite as good. So I'll show you when we get to the other side how a smaller tool can be a little bit more helpful in just being able to lie on your side and work your way up. Alright, I'm going to switch sides now. I'm going to grab the small double ball, and I'll show you with the small single ball how it's possible as well. So the double ball is nice because it literally captures the IT band. As you can see, the tendon on this side is right here. I'm going to go a little bit right where the vastus lateralis meets the IT band. Okay, the double ball is going to capture on both sides of that IT band, and then I'll go through the same motion as I was before. Okay, so I'm going to lay on my side. Because the device is lower to the ground, I can get more on my side as I described earlier. Maybe you can see that. Now, as I said before as well, the smaller ball will work like this. It's just not going to capture the IT band. I can get on it, but it'll have a tendency to roll forward or back. So you have to stabilize a little bit more if you're going to use a single ball. And it still works. So if you want to do that, because a lot of people do have baseballs or lacrosse balls at home, that might work if that's the tool that you have. Okay, so now I'm going to spend another minute and a half or so on this left leg. And you can hear in my voice, right? Like I get into a spot that I know is the right spot, and as soon as I do, you'll hear my voice change because it's painful, right? So usually if it's painful, you're in the right spot, especially with the IT band. The IT band is a very tender, painful bit because the area gets super tight. It's not an area that we roll or give too much attention to. And there's a lot of stability happening there all the time as you stand. When you straighten the leg, make sure contract really hard and then let go, relax for a second. And the ball will sink deeper into the tissue. And then go through the rotation again. And just so you guys know, there is a rhyme behind the reason of choosing certain things that we roll. I haven't really explained this yet, but I usually choose a rolling technique based on the exercises that we're going to do later in the session. So we're working on the IT band because the exercises that we're going to do in both the core section and the dynamic movement section are going to be essentially hip stability centric. And if your IT band is tight, then you're not able to activate the hip or the leg as well as if you didn't release and roll the IT band. So that's why we choose the rolling techniques that we do, or I do. It's not just random. Okay, so now I'm going to go up a little bit higher. I'll show you with a bigger double ball. This would be like 2 softballs put together. I know many of us don't have this, but you can get something like this on Amazon pretty easily if you want. So I'm going to go more on my side. Again, the double ball captures the tissue a little bit better. I'm 4 inches or so above the spot that I was just in, more in the middle of my thigh. I'm going to hang out for a second because it's quite painful before I begin to move. Take a couple big breaths. Grimace a little bit maybe. Now very slowly going to start to move that leg again. Flex the hamstring, bending the knee. Then straighten. Lock the leg out. Flex. Relax. Woo. And remember, if you want to hang out in any other positions that are a little bit different than I am, you know, if you want to rest here with your knee bent, or rest a little bit longer with your legs straight, or twist your body a little bit, there's always little different techniques and twists that you can throw into yourself. So listen to your body, listen to what your body wants, and adjust based on what your body needs. So I'm satisfied with that side. Now we're going to get into the stretching. This is going to be active stretching for the IT band. So what you'll need for this is some sort of rope, strap, band, or belt. Okay. So this is a yoga belt. I could have just as easily used any sort of belt. You could even use a towel, and I know we all have some sort of towel or something like that. So now we're going to get into a supine position, which means on our back. And I'm going to strap up my foot, okay, right in the sole of my foot. I'm laying on my back. I'm going to bring that leg straight up, or at least as straight as I can, so that my knee is locked out here. Okay, so this is very important. What I see a lot is people will cheat and go higher towards their chest, but my knee is bent. Okay, you will not get the IT band stretched that is desired if your knee is bent. Okay, so you have to straighten out the knee. Now it's okay if your knee is straight and down here. It'll still work. Okay, so just make sure that the knee is locked out wherever you are. Use 2 hands so that your arms don't get too fatigued. I'm also going to focus on pulling my toes back and foot back into dorsiflexion towards my shin. So I'm pulling my foot back like so. Now this is about as high as I can go, keeping the knee straight. Now I'm going to repeatedly drop my leg to the opposite side of my body. Okay, so I'm going to go to my left, keeping the knee locked, hold for a second, come back up. I'm going to do that 10 to 15 times. So this is how I'm actively lengthening my IT band over and over again. Ooh, and you feel the pull. The pull can go all the way from the outside of the hip, where the IT band comes from, through the knee, and I really feel it specifically down right behind the knee, outside of the calf, because the IT band, as I said earlier, goes all the way down there. And sometimes you can feel that referral going all the way to the foot, because the fascia, all the way from the hip, goes down the outside of the leg into the foot. So it's all part of the same system, where you can feel referrals going all the way down. And remember, just hold for a couple seconds. This isn't passive stretching. We never want to passively stretch before exercise. So that's why I'm holding for a second, coming back up, keeping active, keeping moving. Now you can go further towards the ground, and what you'll see here is my hip will then come off the ground here. This doesn't make the IT band stretch more, but it will stretch and mobilize your low back more. So if you want that, go for it. I'm okay with it. Play with how far you want to go. You can go all the way to the ground if you want. As you can see, I'm rotating in the back now. That ends up being a big low back mobilization, which isn't exactly what we're going for today, but doesn't mean I'm not okay with it. I'm going to do 2 more. Alright, I'm going to do the other side. Per usual, we always notice differences between sides, right? So what I notice when I switch sides basically immediately is that my left hamstring and IT band are way tighter. So you can see my leg is lower to the ground this way, not as high back towards my face. Especially when I dorsiflex, I feel that pull in the back of my calf already. So I'm going to start really slow as I drop to my right side. Oh. This is definitely one of those stretches that does not feel good. I'm sorry, I hate to break it to you. Some stretches feel nice, some do not, and this one does not feel nice. But what does feel nice is your body after doing it. So once you complete the stretch and we get into the core activation drills, you're going to be like, oh, okay, I feel kind of good. Weird. And if you've done this stretch before, then you know that it's quite painful. And now you know, if you haven't done it before, this is one of those ones that can always use a little attention. And it's nice because you're laying on your back, right? You don't really need to work too hard to do it because you're just laying. So if you're about to get into bed at night and you're like, oh, maybe I should stretch and I could just lay here in my bed. Grab a belt, grab a towel, whatever, just do the stretch before you go to bed. And you don't have to do it actively like I am here, but you can hold the foot outside like this for a minute or so before bed. And as you stretch, dopamine is released in your body and your brain. So it actually literally helps you relax and go to sleep. I'm going to do 2 more. we got our mobility and flexibility for the day. We're about to move on to core activation. Take a sip of water. Here we go.